Welcome into the DNVR Rockies podcast brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, when you go and use code DNVR, you can go ahead and make a deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code DNVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook. College football season is here, and they're going to hook you up, win or lose again with promo code DNVR and only on DraftKings Sportsbook. I am Patrick Lyons.
I am Suzie Hunter. And Patrick, I have to commend you. Earlier this week, you did a TikTok predicting that the Rockies would take just one of these games against the Mets. And I'm glad you were right, because during this pitcher's duel today, I was getting a little nervous.
Can you believe that I went out on a limb and said, you know what? The Rockies will beat Max Scherzer on Sunday. Look, this was the one I did not think they were definitely going to get. It was probably going to be Saturday against David Peterson, but nevertheless, yeah, they got their one. We'll see what they do on that hunt for 69. They win 1-0, a 3-hitter against a potent New York Mets offense, and really, it all starts with Germán Márquez, our DraftKings Sportsbook king of the game. Suzie, was this the best you've seen him all year long?
He was cooking today, and especially after his last start where, I've said before, he had some very sad eyes after last start. He was so frustrated too. So to see him come out and give us 7 innings, just 1 hit, just 2 walks and 5 strikeouts, and, really outlast Scherzer in that pitcher's duel, absolutely incredible.
He did. Yeah, he did so well. The no-hit watch was definitely in effect starting from first pitch, but we really thought it was probably going to be more likely to be Scherzer, but Charlie Blackmon erased that early there in the top of the first. It wouldn't be until the 5th inning that Márquez would finally give up his first hit, that being to who was that? Jeff McNeil ended up breaking up a good time.
It was Jeff. If it's going to be anyone, it's going to be Jeff McNeil.
Yeah. As you said, that last start he had, he had been picking up steam. I've been talking with some Mets people. We both have friends and family and all the different fan bases, but the common comment I heard from so many of them was just basically Márquez has like a 5+ ERA, and it's like, well, he hasn't been that bad. You look back, I think in the month of August, he had a 3.69 ERA over 5 starts. So he had been trending towards the positive, a lot of quality starts. And that last one was really bad. And he said, he was freaking frustrated.
Frustrated is what he said.
And he was not on Sunday. Definitely had his A game going. It's a game score of 78, which is something I really don't talk about a lot, but I've been diving into it lately. Basically, it's something Bill James created, saying, all right, you get points for doing this, and if you last this long, and you'll lose points if you walk a guy, so you can overall kind of figure out how good that was. It was a game score of 78, so it was actually tied for his 11th best start all time if you use that. Now, the question, so this game, again, Rockies had lost 4 straight. Going into this game, they had lost 3 straight against the Mets. We've got plenty to talk about with their Old Timers Day. Will the Rockies ever get an Old Timers Day? How did the Rockies feel when they got to see some players that, frankly, were probably their heroes when they were young kids? But the Rockies, with the win, go to 55-74, 19-42 on the road. Not great, but it's 1-0 after 7. Márquez had already thrown 102 pitches, I believe, was the number. Career high is 114. The most we had seen him throw was 105 this year. Suzie, how much were you thinking about maybe sending him back out for the 8th, knowing some of the difficulty the bullpen has been having as of late?
You know what? I was not surprised at all that he was not participating in the 8th inning. It would have been cool to see, but at the same time, it all worked out just fine. I'm happy with that. Also, it's I heard this, but this is, I think, only the second time the Mets or the Rockies and Mets have had a 1-0 game where the Rockies are the winner of that game. Yeah.
There you go.
I could have worded that a little better, but it just came out.
That's it. Look, when it's verbal, you can have all the with, as of, and all of that in there. It's when it's Twitter and text that it really gets clunky. Verbally, that sounded fine to me.
It's only the second time the Rockies have beat the Mets 1-0.
There you go. When you put it like that, yeah, that was a really simple thing to say, but that was a
There was a much simpler way to put it, and I decided to do a bad job at talking, even though it's literally what I do for a living. But we're gonna work past it. We're gonna work past it, and we're gonna be stronger because of it.
This was the 43rd time in Rockies franchise history they've played many, many games where they've had a 3-hit shutout. So that was really nice to see. It was their third time this season winning a game. They beat Minnesota in June, if you remember, 1-0 on a 3-hitter. A couple days later, they beat the Dodgers 4-0 at home. That was the famous, I almost said infamous, no, just famous Chad Coolstart, where he did it all by himself. So, yeah, tip of the cap, too, to the bullpen there, because I was a little bit leery. Had been hearing Lamet was warming up, but it was ended up being Estevez, who did a nice job in the 8th, gave up a single to Brett Beatty with 1 out. Wild pitch moved him up to second. You had Starling Marte, a big free agent acquisition by the Mets, at the plate. Estevez got him to strike out. And then Wyoming's own Brandon Nimmo, he found the strike zone. He found the strikeout to get them into the 9th, still holding on to that 1-0 lead.
Yeah. Noted childhood Rockies fan, Brendan Nimmo.
That's it. And then Bard faced the heart of the order there. It's interesting. So on that first game Thursday, which you talked about a little bit on Friday's show, Wayne Randazzo, Lindsey Friesman, fantastic. Anyone interested? That was a little bit of evergreen topic, which was fantastic. Like I think you could go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
I think months down the line, because
down the line,
it just has to do with a lot of mental skills stuff. Again, just what are the Mets doing this season? So I think that one's going to gain a lot of traction. But you broke down that Thursday game just a little bit, and in that one, Edwin Diaz came in for the 8th inning, not the 9th. He didn't get the save. It was Adam Ottavino, and that was because, frankly, the Rockies had the heart of their order up in the 8th. Those were the bigger outs. That's why, classically speaking, a closer, you might not want him in there in the 9th. It's just the final 3 outs. It's against the 7th, 8th, and 9th hitter. But in this case, Bard was up right there against the heart. He got Lindor out right away. Gave up a single to Alonso, who was not quiet in the series. We'll talk about what he did earlier in the weekend. And got Eduardo Escobar to strike out and a ground out by Jeff McNeil. And Rockies get a 1-0. It makes you feel good, especially with the off day on Monday. You say, all right, you can feel on top of the world that you got a game. The last memory that you have was of a fantastic performance by Mr. Marquis. That was great.
Yes, I was so happy to see it for him, for them. They can just, have that winning vibe and just sit in it for the whole off day.
Do you think, and again, I know you'll be tracking this, do they stay another night in New York, or do they go to Atlanta? And if you were the general manager of this team, or if you were the traveling secretary, as it were, for the team, would you want them to just stay overnight in New York and then just travel, fly to Atlanta Monday night? Or would you rather just get to Atlanta and have the off day be down there in Georgia?
I think I personally, if I were running the show, which maybe I should be, I would just have them head down there. Just get down there, relax, chill out, have a whole day to relax down in Atlanta. Because, also you never know what's going to happen with, weather, or, flights, or getting stuck on a tarmac for 7 hours. So you might as well just get the travel over with as soon as possible.
Yeah, they still might not get in until Monday night because of what those airports are like up there in LaGuardia. I mean, it could be wild. So you're right. You just want to go there.
Hey,
you might get less trouble in Atlanta.
They flew into Newark getting to.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so they might be flying out of Newark too. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they represent New Jersey on that, so I definitely do appreciate that.
Yes, their Jersey appreciation trip where they fly into Newark and then immediately go to New York City.
They leave it as quickly as possible, for sure. Now, all right. So how do the Rockies get a run? So we talked about how good the pitching was with Marquez. Just was fantastic. He did allow 1 runner to reach second base, and it was on a balk, so it had nothing to do with what the Mets did. But the Rockies got their lead in the 7th. Cron single, Jose Iglesias, who was kind of front and center for a lot this weekend, and he'll be front and center later on in this episode when we look at some of the images that came out from Old Timers Day. But he puts runners on first and second. Grichuk loads the bases with a single. Hilliard strikes out, but Brian Servin, he may be a rookie, but it was a real veteran move to get the sac fly. And that was it. He got the game-winning RBI there. Nice job by
Mm-hmm.
the rookie. Big at bat there. Important at bat.
Yes, huge at bat. Also, it's so relieving to see bases loaded and the Rockies can do something with it because that is not always the case. So I never take it for granted.
Yes. Yeah, very true. I mean, that was some of the story of this week, like leaving guys stranded. That can be difficult and challenging, to say the least. Also on offense, so Grichuk had a double. He got picked off in the ninth, which I don't know. I wasn't as active on Twitter at that point in the game, but I imagine a couple people ripped their hair out. In a 1-0 game against the Mets. Bard's coming in the ninth on the road. You go, an insurance run here would be very nice. Getting picked off of second base, not very nice. So that was frustrating. And then Hilliard singles right after him. So you go, well, he probably would have scored from second base. There's your insurance run. And even if he doesn't and runners are on first and third, what ended up happening later on in that inning, wild pitch by Michael Givens, that would have scored the run. So undeniably, that was a run that was taken off the board, unfortunately, with the base running there. But again, all's well that ends well.
Yes, exactly. We can point out the things that could have been better, but I'm just so happy the Rockies figured out a way to win this.
And I also know you're happy too because you were feeling the good vibes yesterday at the DNVR Broncos tailgate.
I was.
That
oh
was
my
awesome.
gosh, I had the best time. The food truck was amazing. The sliders, absolutely incredible. Loved them. Had the chicken meatball one. It was so good. I could have eaten like 30 of them. I know. Yeah, had some good Breck brew. Played some pong. Won 2 games. Feeling like a champion right now. So
you left the table as a winner at the Broncos tailgate?
Oh, I did. I did.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you representing the Rockies beat well there. It might be a football event, but it's a DNVR event. So, of course, the entire community was out for that. If you're a member of the DNVR, if you're not, don't worry. It's only 50 cents for your first month, but you get a price break on those tailgates when you head over to DNVRlocker.com. And if you're ready to go all in with an annual membership, you do get a free shirt from DNVRlocker.com. You get all of our great written content online. You're getting some stuff, a lot of stuff behind the paywall, and we're going to hook you up mighty nice. You also get access to that members-only Discord where, of course, we're bouncing back and forth with other diehards in the community, make some new friends. It's fantastic. It's the DNVR.com. How can it not be fantastic? The wait is almost over. Speaking about tailgates,
yes,
football, I mean, the new season is set to begin. Get ready for week 1 action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To celebrate the return of football, DraftKings is giving new customers a can't-miss offer. Bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. Want more action for opening night? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Here's how it works. You get up to 7. You win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice. And if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code DNVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus issued as free bet. 1 early win token issued at opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 because the Rockies are off on Monday. Of course, I had to look for my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week to the NFL, and I love this concept partially because I didn't have to think too much about it. They had it right there. They had a bet that was all about Nolan Arenado in the Sunday night baseball game. I didn't go to that one. I loved this concept, and I also agreed with all the picks. It's week 1 revenge games. It's right there on the front page of the app.
Ooh.
Plus 289. You get Broncos to win over Seattle. We know they're going to ride. We know Russ Wilson is going to do it in Seattle. You get Chargers over Raiders, and you get Panthers in their new QB, Baker Mayfield, over his former team, the Cleveland Browns. So all those 3 legs come out, which that's where I was going to begin with 1 click, plus 289 with my DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week. That's fun.
That's a really good pick. I love the revenge games that's a big thing for week 1.
We didn't have a revenge game on Saturday exactly. We had a Colorado game. We had a
It was
Colorado
a friendship
reunion
game.
game.
It
Oh, there
was
you
a
go. It
friendship
was the
game.
opposite. It was kind of
It
a
was
friendship
literally
game.
the opposite.
It
Yeah, I
was.
was
Yeah, it was
we're
really
just
neat.
gonna talk over each other the whole dang show.
Well, yeah,
Patrick,
because
go
then
ahead.
no. We should continue talking, and then people can parse it out, and then they get 2 podcasts for the price of one. You're not talking. This isn't going to work if we don't talk over each other. All right. I guess we'll just do it like a normal pod. All right.
Okay. Patrick, your turn. You're up. What were you saying?
No, so Peterson, I wasn't sure was going to start. He was like the probable guy, and you're like, this story is just too good to be true. It's probably not going to work out, but it did. You had Peterson, Regis Jesuit graduate, Thomas Jefferson grad, and Kyle Freeland going against one another. You like the Rockies' odds there. That was the one that I thought the Rockies would get against the Mets. Didn't work out that way, but even still, and what ended up being the second best start of Peterson's career. He did really well. Rockies took the L on that one. 3-0 loss, but at least Colorado won in a sense. In the general scheme of things, maybe.
Someone from Colorado won that game. Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay, yeah, let's do that one.
The interesting thing, I guess he really should have been a Rocky though, right, Patrick?
Yes, that's true. So I've heard a lot of different reports on different things about how close they were, and I think some people have conflated those reports. But the bottom line is, in 2017, when he was out there in the draft out of the University of Oregon, obviously Colorado, had their sights on him since when he was pitching in high school. Only problem was, and the Rockies could have had him 11th overall. Only problem was, and this is going to be a little irksome to some folks. The Rockies, when they signed Ian Desmond, he had gotten a qualifying offer by the Texas Rangers at that point. So when they signed him, they had to forfeit a pick. And at that time, if you had a pick that was between the first and 10th pick overall, you didn't have to give up those picks because obviously you're a really bad team. You'd give up your second round pick. Well, the Rockies were sitting with the 11th pick. So they lost the 11th overall pick in 2017 because they signed Ian Desmond. They weren't able to get David Peterson. Their first pick wasn't until the 40s in the second round there, where they got Ryan Valade. It's something that's kind of set back their farm system a little bit, gets lost in the shuffle. But David Peterson would have been really cool if we had yet another one of those Colorado kids in the rotation, in the bullpen, suited up for the Rockies. What could have been, maybe someday. Maybe someday.
That whole story just really hurts my soul. So many things just went so wrong in that one transaction.
It really, yeah. No, it really was
Yeah.
not great to say the least.
Some of
Ryan,
the worst work yet that we've
yeah,
seen.
it was cool to see Ryan McMahon stay hot. We'll talk about how he was really hot on Thursday. Susie already did that, but hey, you can't pass up a reference to homering off Jacob deGrom, which I just did there. I'm still going to mention it again later because it was fantastic.
I'm for it. I'm for
Yeah.
it. We
Oh,
can
totally.
we can talk about Ryan McMahon as much as we want. This
That's
is a
it.
safe space. A safe space.
Well, so he singled off Peterson, and you go, what's the big deal? Hey, Peterson, a lefty himself, just like Kyle Freeland, has been really good against hitters on the same side. They were hitting only 188 going into that game, sixth best in all of MLB. So that was nice to see. Crone had 2 hits on Saturday night. It was their 6th time getting shut out this season with 5 hits or less. So overall, on a Saturday night where you want a little bit of action going on there in your game and your life, it didn't happen for the Rockies there, but it did on Friday on a high note, right? Friday, a lot of action, a lot of back and forth. After the loss on Thursday, which we all expected against DeGrom, it seemed like on Friday night, it's headed down the same exact road. But that was a good contest. There was a lot of back and forth in Friday's game.
It was definitely a very eventful game and very close right down to just the very last inning.
Yeah, they were down 3-0 early. They tied it 3-3 in the top of the 6th. So it was late. They did give back the lead in the bottom of the 6th. But then in the top of the 8th, Elias Diaz did it in a really big way. He came up clutch. He's been hitting for power since he came off the IL.
Yes, he is. His wrist and his hand are just more powerful than ever. So yeah, got the lead back, but then of course the bad Ryan McMahon news. He erred in the bottom of the 8th. So the tie returned.
Yeah.
I
And then
didn't get a good look
Alonso,
at that. Did the ball go through his glove again?
no, unfortunately, it was not an unforced error, as it were. Just a straight up error there and a real bad
Just a
spot.
regular one. Okay.
Yeah, just a regular unfortunate one, just like the unfortunate ending. Pete Alonso, Polar Bear against Daniel Bard, walk-off single, wins it in the ninth to give the Rockies that 7-6 loss. Bard gave up a hit to Nimmo. Again, that kid from Wyoming. He's very plucky. Bard then hit Starling Marte. There were a lot of hit by pitches actually this weekend. The Mets took a lot, but that's actually been the story of their season. If you remember early on in the year, they were getting hit a lot. And I think in the last couple of years, they've been leading the league in HBPs, or as you might want to call it, H's BP. Yeah, you probably go with that.
HSBPs. Because it's multiple hits, but it's also multiple pitches. So we need to pluralize all
HSBPs. There we go.
Yes.
All right, so
we go.
Maybe it needs to be HSB's P's, just to make sure we have all of the bases covered. But they stand on top of the plate. And so that can certainly work to your advantage. That was the case. Yeah, runners on first and second. And then that set up Alonso's 25th game-winning RBI this season alone. New franchise record. Sorry, Keith Hernandez.
For the record, I'm not sorry. Because I'm in a feud with Keith Hernandez, as we know.
That's true.
Yeah.
We were very well aware. So you're in a way you're kind of happy. Unfortunately, came against the Rockies. Glad there's somebody else atop the list. Game-winning RBI actually used to be a stat. I forget what year it became like I don't know if it was like 78 or 88, but it was a weird stat. So basically Brian Serven had the game-winning RBI. But when you think about that, you're thinking almost like as a walk-off. But what if Serven had a sac fly in the first inning? You go like, well, that was so early. You don't think of that as winning a game if it happened in the first inning. So that's a stat that's kind of gone by the wayside. It was exciting at the time, but it's still relevant when you're looking on a year-to-year basis there. So
it was exciting at the time. Biggest thing since sliced bread.
That's it. Some stats, man, they are exciting. What's a stat right now, Suzie, that just excites you? Just exit velocity off of a bat? Barrels? Come on.
You know what? I mean, I do love the MLB Barrel Alert Twitter account. Okay. That is definitely a fave of mine. Maybe I do like exit velo. Maybe that is my favorite.
Stats can be exciting. This is the new segment. The more you know. Oh, we need a graphic. Let's get on it.
Very Virgo season of you to be so stat heavy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I know you know what that means, of course.
I do. Oh, naturally.
Naturally.
Speaking of stats, 50% of DeGrom's outs on Thursday night came via a strikeout. Props to Iglesias for breaking up that perfect game in the fifth. He added a second hit later. What did you make of? And then again, you talked about it, but what did you make of this weird stat? And I tried to verify how many other players have done this and how common it might be. But Ryan McMahon has now homered in every spot in the lineup, 1 through 9.
Oh, that's fun.
Curious, right? Yeah. It's a little curious.
I love this for him. So versatile.
Yeah, I don't know if that it was spreadsheet worthy. Because again, also not everything can go into a spreadsheet nice and neatly. The interesting thing is that the 4 home runs he's hit in the 9th spot in the order didn't come as a starter. He was the pinch hitter, so he gets credit. He didn't start in the 9th, but he ended up hitting in that spot. So when you put it in that context, it's a little bit looser. So if that makes sense, right? Because he's not hitting 9th he's kind of the worst player on the team. It's just he ended up going into that spot. So I don't know. That can be a little bit funny there if you do think about it. So. But I think that was kind of neat. Hopefully maybe we can get some more information on homering in every spot in a lineup. That's kind of neat.
Who are you asking about this? Who are you following up about this topic with? You talking to Kevin Collins? You calling?
Oh, I can't reveal my statistical sources.
Oh my gosh. Okay, your secret. I didn't know it was a secret. Okay, Patrick.
I got people that are behind the scenes at Elias Sports Bureau. Oops. Oh. There I go.
Okay.
My major sources there. I've got moles all over the place. All right. Sports Info Solutions.
That's disgusting.
Elias moles?
You said I have moles all over. You have to work on your wording, Patrick. I'm not going to say any more, but you got to work on it.
But that wasn't the mole. We weren't talking about dermatology. But you know what we were talking about? We were talking about how great you can have yourself dressed up, what kind of swag you can have for all of those DNVR tailgates. And you can get some of that gear over at foco.com. Dog days of summer are almost over. So, yes, Russ is going to be cooking at Mile High. Jokic is going for the three-peat MVP. And yes, some more championship defense from Cale Makar at Ball Arena. And oh, yeah, the Rockies still show up to Coors Field once in a while. That was an original part of the ad read, but I feel like it should be because, hey, let's give us some love as well there. Look, whether it's live or in person,
Please
or from the
include
best
us.
seat in your house, Foco has you covered with the best fan gear, gifts, collectibles. We know they've got some amazing bobbleheads. Those Stanley Cup ones are great. They've got tote bags, tumblers, hoodies, and Henleys. It's got to be foco.com for all that and more. They've got your back here in Colorado sports, and now they want to deck you out from head to toe with foco.com. Just click the link below in our YouTube description or go to foco.com for all non-presale items. You can use promo code DNVR to get yourself 10% off. Then head on over to coloradogolf.org and use code DNVR to get $5 off your membership to the Colorado Golf Association. Now, that membership means a lot more at the CGA because members, you're going to get an opportunity to play exclusive courses all around the state, such as Aspen Glen Club, the club at Ravenna, the Pinery, so much more. You get access to exclusive members content with offers and discounts from national and local companies like Imperial, Golf Tech, PGA Tour, Superstore. You can learn more about the Colorado Golf Association today by visiting coloradogolf.org and use code DNVR5 to get $5 off your membership. It's never too late in the year. It really isn't to pick up golf and to do that. And then in the winter months, you can go to a spot like Top Golf, which is basically like a bowling alley, but for golf.
I love Top Golf.
I've never been.
Patrick.
I drive by it every day too, just about.
Which one
And
do
I
you drive
always
by?
think, well, I think there's only one in Colorado, so.
No, I think there's more than one.
Maybe. Could be. I've seen it as though I've never been there, but I do drive by one. And look, like I said, it's a bowling alley for golf. Like you can go, you can have drinks. It's fantastic. It's never too late to get into golf.
Is this an ad for Top Golf?
No. Well, look,
I'm like,
the Rockies,
did we add Top Golf as a sponsor? What's
I
happening right
segued
now?
out of an ad read with an unintentional ad read. Okay, it's early in the week for me. Okay, that's what happens when you have a couple down days.
You actually did get the pleasure of having a couple days off, which I'm so happy for. But now you don't get any more days off because you're a mess right now, Patrick.
true.
Get it together.
That's true. Yeah, when I drive by Top Golf and my Subaru Outback, which just gets great gas mileage, and right now at the cost of sorry. I keep doing this. I'm ad read into an ad read. That's not even a real ad read.
Your life is an ad read, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, these ad reads are stealing some of my life away. Similar to how the Pirates stole Robert Stevenson. Very fitting. They're the Pirates, right?
Can we call it a stealing when we put them up on the offering plate?
Pretty much. I mean, look, if you put a hot apple pie on your windowsill, you are asking for it to be taken. And yes, Robert Stevenson is, quote unquote, a hot apple pie on a windowsill. Wow, this is getting off the rails real quick. Let's bring it back in there, Patrick. All right, he still has another year of club control. Were you surprised by that one, especially because Jhoulys Chacin was the one who seemed like he was struggling a lot more than Stevenson?
It definitely seemed that way. I definitely would have guessed Chacin before Stevenson, so I was pretty surprised to see Stevenson DFA'd. Even more surprised to see him stolen by someone. So
yeah.
The
only element to that I could have figured out, and again, there's look, we're in the clubhouse every day, and we hear a lot of things behind the scenes. But even behind that scene is another scene that that we're not privy to. But I sort of look at it like this: Stevenson did have another year of control, which ultimately meant they were going to have to pay him $2 million or so. And if he's not really a part of their plans going forward, if they don't want to spend that $2 million that he would have got, maybe 2.5, I don't know what the number is going to be in arbitration his final year before free agency. You say, hey, we can maybe get somebody to take him off our hands right now. We don't have to worry about that. Of course, they could designate him for assignment and not have to pay him to begin with. But nevertheless, he moves on to somewhere else, whereas Chacin, he is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So he already wasn't in the plans for the future. So it was kind of puzzling. We know that the Rockies' magic number for elimination on the NL West going into Saturday was 3. I think the Dodgers lost on Saturday, so I think the magic number might be 2. So that's any combination of Rockies losses or Dodgers wins goes to that. And so,
That is
so they're not. What I'm trying to say
that
is they're not
bums
out of it.
me
They're not out
out.
of it yet. Look, they only got to win is like 30 some straight games, and the Dodgers need to lose the rest of all their games, and we're gonna have another game 160 through. It's as easy as that. That's how easy the math is, right? Just like if you can say, hey, they just got to play better. They just got to win 30 some games. Dodgers just got to lose 30 some games, and just like that, you're going to the postseason. You're winning your first division. Is it that simple?
You know what? It does not
No.
seem like it will be that simple this year. They are 21 games away from being eliminated from that third wild card spot. So,
And that, I don't know if the Padres won today. I think it might be 19 now.
oh, okay.
But going into Saturday, you're right. It was 21.
hmm
And then updating the Rolodex, Padres won on Saturday night. Rockies lost. So it's now 19. If the Padres win on Sunday, that goes down to 18. So that's kind of how that works. The magic number business. That's the third wild card. So that could come as early as, well, it would have come as early as September 7th with the win on Saturday, or rather Sunday afternoon. Now maybe it'll be postponed. So September 8th, might be the day they're officially eliminated. Still about 4 weeks before the regular season is over, which again is wild to think about because there's an extra wild card, which you would have thought would allow them a little bit extra grace period, but
not in this NL West, not in this economy.
No, not at all. But you know what? The Mets, they are not having any financial issues. They can afford to fly pretty much anyone who's ever suited up for the New York Mets to Flushing and have an old timers day. I didn't see a lot of the visual stuff because
Oh,
I don't have SNY to watch that. I just saw images. And again, the concept, I've talked about this before. The concept's great. It's something we would love for the Rockies to have, an old timers day. They don't even have to play a game. Yankees had their old timers day this year. They didn't even play a game, which seems strange, but guess what? Who cares? Line up on the first and third base line. We'll cheer for you. We be the black vests versus, the road pinstripes, right? That look like pajamas. Have some fun. Celebrate the past. Rockies aren't doing it, but the Mets did. And I think some Rockies players had a lot of fun with that as well.
Oh, I think so too. Should we get into some of the picks that I have curated from the weekend?
I think so.
Is that what we're all right? So, one of the things I got such a kick out of. So, first of all, Jose Iglesias, friends with everyone. How is he just like always broing out with everyone? It's like fascinating to me. He is a friend to all.
Was he hitting on Mrs. Met? Is that what you're about to show us a photograph of?
Oh, but I wouldn't blame him because she's a baddie. Allie, can we cue up that picture of Jose Iglesias hanging out with, there he is, my favorite, Bobby Valentine, and even put the eye black on for his fake mustache, just like his infamous elimination game. I love that. Did you know that was what he used? He used eye black. It wasn't just a fake mustache lying around.
No, I didn't. The video that I had seen, I guess, was far enough away where it looked really real. And then with this photograph again, head on over to the DNVR Sports channel on YouTube. You can clearly see what it is. But from far away, it looks really good. If you're in the upper deck, you thought that was real.
He did a really good job making that eye black look real in that game, in the disguise game, the infamous disguise game. But then, yeah, Jose Iglesias also broing out with Mike Piazza. Just absolutely great. Look at them, the best of friends, just absolute buddies.
Yeah, that would have been one of the guys that he looked up. It's strange because like a lot of times generations like overlap just a little bit, and you kind of forget. Like, Iglesias is still playing. He's a little bit older than some guys, but he's still in that same general group. But like Piazza would have been a guy that Jose Iglesias would have grown up watching, from his early teen years, maybe even, younger than that. So that must have been a real good kick out of it. You know what I mean? He enjoyed it. He enjoyed it and appreciated it.
You can tell. You can see it in his eyes. If you're watching us on YouTube, that is. If you're not, I'm so sorry.
Well, speaking of seeing things in people's eyes, this was amazing. that I don't know if this is the first time. I think this was the first time you had seen it. So I'm guessing this may have been the first time that they unveiled Mr. Met. He perfect for the
Oh
Scherzer
yeah,
game.
we gotta look.
He's
Mr. Met is
contact.
a menace. He's a menace to society, but he decided, I've never seen them do this before, but they changed his eye color, one blue eye, one brown eye, so he would look like
Genius.
Max Scherzer. Never seen them
That's
do this
genius.
before. Why did they choose this weekend? I don't know, but it's
The
just
brown one looks normal. The brown one looks fine. The blue one, very dilated pupil. It looks strange.
it's very scary. It's very scary. But we have another picture. I'm trying to remember, what color are Mr. Met's eyes usually?
That's a great question.
We
I
have
don't
some
know.
pictures of what he normally looks like.
That's a good question for hardcore Mets fans. It's just
I would okay,
black,
so it looks
like a
like,
doll's
are they
eyes.
just black? I think they're just black eyes. Like I
Yeah.
don't think he has an eye color.
Like a doll's eyes.
Like yeah, they're like doll's eyes. But yeah, last time I was in New York was the last time the Rockies were in New York before this, but I was trying to snap a pic with Mrs. Met. I'm wearing a Rockies shirt, obviously. Mr. Met jumps in. First of all, was not trying to pose for a picture with him. He jumps in and uses his big stupid hand to cover up the Rockies logo for the picture. How rude.
Oh, not cool.
How rude. I'm like, Mr. Met, you were not even invited to this picture. I love Mrs. Met. She is, I've said this before, she's my favorite mascot.
My favorite part of this picture actually is the fact that you wear the same kind of shoes as the Mets mascots. That's my favorite part. That's awesome. That's dedication.
I really need people to stop telling me that I have big feet. It's just like really something.
I didn't say size.
Yeah.
I didn't say size at all.
I don't know.
I didn't say if they were like the double E wide New Balances. I think Mr. and Mrs. Met do that. You look like you got a normal width there of foot, but
I'm a tall lady.
nice.
I need big feet. It's not my fault. I have fantastic genes.
That's right.
Okay, so this is another favorite moment that I saw on social media from this Mets series. It seems like the whole Rockies crew had such a great time in Manhattan. But so Freeland and Peterson, we know they're both from Colorado. They're besties. Look at these besties. But Freeland posted something really sweet. He posted this nice picture. Look at them looking at each other. I just got such a kick out of this.
Only the 10th time ever. So we had speculated on it last week. Only the 10th time ever, and I think almost half of those starts have involved Kyle Freeland. Maybe it's more like 4. Freeland against Ty Block, Freeland against Marco Gonzalez, and now you got Freeland and Peterson. There's probably one more that I'm forgetting, but yeah, I guess that's really nice that those guys were kind of able, because again, that is a moment that's not just for them, it's for the state of Colorado. It goes back to what Freeland did this offseason with that amazing, shadow box with 12 baseballs signed by all of the players that had, made an appearance in a game in 2021 that were born in the state of Colorado and were from there. And so he should take a lot of pride in that. And I'm glad he's enjoying moments like this.
Yeah, and of course it adds another special layer to it because they really are very good friends in real life, and so are their wives too. So we have another picture of their wives together. So they actually sat together at the game. We see Kyle's wife Ashley is wearing a Colorado jersey, but she's wearing a Mets hat, and Peterson's wife is wearing a Rockies hat. So they are truly a team in this, and they sat together at the game. They wore each other's gear. I thought this was really sweet.
Love that cap swap. That's cool.
I love a good cap swap. I was surprised because I feel like, I don't know Ashley very well, but she seems like she also is pretty competitive like Kyle. So I was like, I'm actually very surprised to see her wearing the other team's hat, but it's bigger than baseball. It was about their friendship.
I like that. Yeah, very much bigger than baseball. The former, so talking about things that are bigger than baseball, Willie Mays is bigger than baseball. Mm-hmm. I thought that was one of the coolest things for anyone who wasn't paying attention. They're having Old Timers Day. Uncle Steve flies all these guys out. And then total surprise, boom, we're retiring number 24 for Willie Mays. What a classy move. What a right move to make. Someone, probably Anthony DiComo, said, they waited until, or maybe they didn't act quickly enough, at least the previous administration, right, the Wilpons, to actually do something and acknowledge their team's history and put up a statue of Tom Seaver. He passed away, and so they dedicated a statue to someone who unfortunately had been deceased. But Willie Mays at 91 years old, I think, still alive. Give him his roses now. They retire at 24, and it just makes for a wonderful moment. Yeah, he only played 2 years with the Mets, total of like 130 games over those 2 years. So not a ton, but doesn't matter. It's what he represents. And so I tip of the cap to Uncle Steve, Stephen A. Cohen, an owner who loves recognizing the history of his team and hears the fans and listens to the fans. Got to respect that.
Yeah, rich Uncle Steve, who is hilariously active on Twitter sometimes. But also, I was trying to pick a fight with him, saying that Germán Márquez is the new owner of the Mets today.
Yeah, no one was biting on that, but I thought that was a good attempt. You got
I
to go to the
wanted,
Wikipedia page.
I
You got to
wanted
do that.
I wanted them to bite so bad, and they didn't. It's terrible.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people were biting on Matt Holliday's induction to the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
saying, "Well, he's one of our guys. Like he's more of a Rocky than a Cardinal," and I would 100% agree with that.
the Cardinals just love taking what is ours. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and they are also a team that loves acknowledging their team history and
Yeah,
celebrating it.
also
So
that.
Holiday goes into the Cardinals Hall of Fame not before he goes into the Rockies Hall of Fame, but before the Rockies even have a Hall of Fame. Where you at on that?
Yeah,
Where are we at on that, Monforts? Come on.
we're supposed to have one of those, right?
I mean, yes. And then there have been press releases suggesting that it was going to happen, and it still hasn't happened yet. And hey, maybe for the 30th anniversary next year, but
Yeah.
why didn't it happen for the 25th or the 20th or this year for the 15th anniversary of the 2007 Rocktober team? I could go on and on, but what do I know about what the fans want?
What do you know?
I don't know.
We got a comment from Rocky C. Vinny, Big Cat, EY Jr. should be in the Rocks Hall of Fame. Great
Yeah.
picks.
I'm
Well
down on that,
said.
man. I'm down on that. And I mean, there's just such history with the Rockies that, again, you go, all right, well, Willie Mays, he's a big name. He only played for 2 years, but it's what he represented to the franchise in the early days there in the 60s. And so there are players that did some things with the Rockies for a very short amount of time, or maybe, again, weren't all-stars, but they have a compelling story that you might not know about it. And then when you hear about it, you go, wow, all of a sudden I'm a fan of this guy. Or maybe he passed away before his time, like a guy like Joe Kennedy. I can't, help but think about someone like that who had one of the best seasons as a starting pitcher in Rockies history, and died very young, unfortunately. And yet, again, no acknowledgement of him. There's one statue. Suzie, I know you know this, but I'm going to say it to you like I'm just saying it to you and not the one person who has the control over this. But there's one statue outside of Coors Field, and it is literally of nobody. It's just the player, not Todd Helton, not Larry Walker,
Weird to me.
not Andre Scalaraga, the team's first star. Not even Don Baylor, their manager, that got them through and avoided 100 losses as an expansion club in 1993, despite everything against them. Nope. It's just a statue of nobody.
Oof.
That's where we're at. It's frustrating.
It feels very fitting. I hope this isn't the Rockies' first 100-loss season.
No, I think
I hope we're not living in that right now.
Look, hey, they're on pace, right? We talked about the hunt for 69. They're on pace. I think they're going to win. They're going to lose 92. For them to lose 8 more than that, the wheels really need to come off. Like, look, they're riding with a donut on. Like, let's. They bought a Lamborghini wheel, from Chicago, and unfortunately, that the KB brand of tire that they bought, is flat. Unfortunately, it's in the shop. They're riding on a donut, but they're not riding on rims yet. When they ride on rims, we can think about 100 losses.
That was one of your best metaphors, Patrick.
All right. Thanks.
Good job. That was well said. Well said.
It's a good rant. Look, today was final thing here. Little League World Series. I think we had Hawaii versus Curacao. And I think that's going on right now as we do this show. But I wanted to just kind of talk a little. Did you get a chance to watch a lot of the Little League World Series by any chance this year?
You know what? I haven't yet.
Me neither.
Very unfortunate. I feel like I've been busy, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
I didn't watch it as much this year as I want to. Again, sometimes there's like storylines that will pull you in, that will
yeah.
be really compelling. It kind of wasn't there. If there was a team from New Jersey, hey, I maybe would have a little more interest. If there was a team from Colorado in it, a lot more interest. I had interest in it
Mhm.
in I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years ago. I think North Boulder was on the precipice. I think they're in the big championship game in their region. But the crazy thing is, Colorado has never had a team in the Little League World Series. They're one of only 7 states to never get in, along with Alaska, Wyoming, Kansas, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Vermont, and then District of Columbia. So that sucks
That does suck. That I hate that for us.
because there's such good baseball here. Again, we acknowledge it. You had Peterson, you had Freeland. And the thing that really, well, I was kind of puzzled over. So they expanded the Little League World Series this year to 20 teams. No, yeah, 20 teams. Originally, it was 16, so 8 in the U.S., 8 international. But they said we're going to do 10 teams in the U.S. So they expand. They make a mountain region, and Colorado's not in it. Colorado's not in
Who
it.
is representing the mountain region?
Um, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada. Utah got in this year. It was their first time going. But
Mm.
Colorado is stuck with the Southwest region. They've been there since 2001. So they've got Arkansas, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma. Not that bad. But the 2 teams from Texas, Texas is so big, they have an East and a West, and Louisiana, they've, in the 21 years that they've had this Southwest region, those 2 teams, the 2 teams in Texas and Louisiana, have represented every single time. We got to get Colorado. Just like in baseball, Colorado might be in the wrong division. They're in the wrong region when it comes to the Little League, too. So,
Why can't Colorado just have one nice thing? Just one in the world of baseball. Is that too much to ask for?
yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even before they were in a region with Texas, they were with Northern California, Southern California, Hawaii, which is actually a pretty good powerhouse. This was their 4th Little League World Series championship game that they had been in since 2005, and Arizona, which again we know is kind of a hotbed for
Yeah.
amateur baseball. So hopefully soon, someday, we'll be talking about the Colorado Little League World Series team. They'll get to come to Coors Field. That's one of the things that happens, right? They get to come and tour the facility, maybe run out into the ball field with the player, like starting at shortstop Ezekiel Tovar, and then a young shortstop from Glenwood Springs or Castle Rock or something like that will run out to shortstop.
How
Like
fun would that be? That would be delightful.
it would be an all-time moment, undeniably an all-time moment. So
But for now, it's just a hypothetical.
that's it. Little League World Series, do better. Come on, get Colorado in that mountain region, please.
Please.
Make a
Begging you.
switch. Make a switch.
Yes.
All right. Well, I had a good metaphor today.
You did.
So I feel good about that. Rockies won a game.
I feel great about that.
Yep. You got to share some great photographs with Mrs. Met. Also great.
I share them any opportunity I can get.
There you go.
There she is. She's gorgeous.
There you go. So you know what? I believe it or not, I feel like we do have some momentum going into this week. Tuesday, we'll be live. Hopefully, with a special guest. Definitely one of those morning shows, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Obviously, if you follow us on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies, we'll give you the lowdown on that. But we'll be live again on Tuesday on the DNVR Sports channel on YouTube. At Patrick D. Lyons is where I'm at on Twitter.
And I am at the Suzie Hunter on all platforms.
Look, you know what they really say about momentum? Frankly, it's only as good as your next show. So we'll talk to you then.